So
I'm working on it.
if we could travel back in time, lads, to when we were 16 or 17 in transition year or fifth year in St. Ailbe's in Tiptown, and in terms of our lives and our careers kind of were ahead of us, what did we have in our heads then? What did we think we'd end up doing? Now, I was just saying before we came on the podcast tonight again, and Aaron, who's not here, I always remember Aaron saying he was interested to do something artistic or in art. He went and then studied graphic design in college and obviously became a graphic designer. So his career, for all intents and purposes, I suppose you would say, was a straight line. Mine certainly wasn't, and I'm sure yours probably weren't either. So again, starting with yourself, Shawnee, if we could go back and ask a 15 or 16-year-old Shawnee in transition year or fifth year and St. Ailbe's what he wanted to do, what he wanted to become, what would he have said?
Well, if he knew what 49-year-old Sean was doing now, he'd go, "What the fuck?" No, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd believe it. He would not believe that I'm working in a bank, heading a risk management department. Not in a million years. And that never crossed my mind. I think my fatal flaw was I always thought about things I would definitely not do, and then I ended up fucking doing them. But I remember my first kind of wish was to do sound engineering.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember, Niall, I think it was in transition year maybe, we were brought up to Dublin for a day and we got in to see a studio.
Yeah.
I think Canada were actually recording in that studio off Marion Square, I think, at the time. That was just like, just seeing the big mixing desk and seeing all that, that's like, okay. And as I was into music, still am, sound engineering was what I really wanted to do, but I think there was only one school in the country doing it at the time, and there was just too expensive for me to go up to Dublin and do that. Musician, obviously, that's something, but yeah. I think that was more of a fantasy, and I think I was always concerned about could you really make a career out of this, and am I good enough? A lot of self-doubt. You have to have a lot of self-confidence to go out and try music for a living, because it's a hard knock life, you know?
Yeah, 100%. What about your parents? Did they have any ideas for you when you were younger?
Absolutely zero. I think my mother wanted me to be a priest at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, knocked that in the head fairly quickly.
So sound technician, musician, priest, and you're now working in banking, Shawnee.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're the only kind of ones that come to mind, really. I think, like, and I see with my own son now, and his friends his age. Truly, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's a ridiculous question to be trying to ask most 16 or 17-year-olds. Another conversation altogether, but I mean, how can anyone really know at that point? Self Mike, 16 or 17-year-old Mike, what did he hope to do, or what was he planning to do at that point?
A job holding up a bar someplace.
Holding up a bar.
As you know, I come from a farming background.
Yeah.
Oddly, I didn't want to be a farmer, even though I enjoyed it and working on the farm. I wanted to be an electrician.
Did you?
Yeah. And I get reminded about it from time to time. I wanted to be an electrician, yeah, but my parents said, no, you're not going to get a trade. You're the second in line in the family. You are going to invest in your education. But like, as you said, at 15, 16, 17, you know, choosing what you want to do for a career, I chose mechanical engineering because I liked the physical aspect of it and I was good at that. And now I work in IT, you know.
Yeah.
How did I get there? Probably a couple of different jobs along the way. But as I said earlier, and actually I think the end of this month, I'm 20 years working for the same company. Having said that, I was helping a mate of mine yesterday move some furniture, and he's working for a company that I worked for once upon a time. And he said to me, if you were 20 years working for that company, you'd probably be retired by now, because it was a well-paid job with a lot of high-end packages 20 years ago in Ireland. It would have been well up there, you know. He said you'd probably be turning 50 now and planning your retirement if you'd stayed.
Fucking hell.
But there you go.
not too keen on the early retirement to me, but again, that's another conversation. So, well, like Shawnee to a certain extent, I had aspirations to become an actor when I was probably that age. To be honest with you, I was a shit actor, so I was never going to become an actor, but I didn't quite know that at that stage, so I suppose it's interesting. But again, I suppose the point is I think asking kids that are 16 or 17, particularly nowadays when there's just so much that you can do, what they might, it's an impossible question. I've certainly had a good number of jobs over the years. I can't speak for you guys. Right, different experiences, good, bad, indifferent, and so on and so forth. So if you were to look upon the work that you did or the jobs that you had, and this can go right back, part-time jobs, jobs that were short-term, jobs that were long-term, etc., 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 what would you say was the very worst job or work experience that you had? If you had one, Mike?
I can't really say it was the worst job, but the reason I left that job I spoke about was I was on 5-cycle shifts, and I was waking up like on a Wednesday morning going, who's going to the pub? And everybody's going, we're going to work, mate. So much so I went off and I was just bored. I went off and I did things like got my truck license and stuff like that. Just to fill my time. I won't say it was the worst job. It was probably at my age at the time, it was the wrong job to be in. If I was in that job in my 30s, I'd probably still be there. Like, I've been lucky enough, I think, that I've always had good bosses and I've always worked for reasonably good companies.
No bad bosses.
No, became the boss fairly quickly in some of my jobs, so I was probably luckier that sense, but okay, we all still have a boss somewhere. I thought I was going to fall out with my current employer many years ago when they rang my wife while we were on holidays in France to ask me where something was instead of them going looking for it. Thought we were going to end our relationship after I came back from that holiday, but can't say that I've had, compared to other people that I've spoken to about different jobs that they've had, and you're going, how the hell did she put up with that, I've been lucky.
Shawnee, worst job, worst boss, if you had one of each, obviously.
No, I never had a worst boss, I have to say. I'm a bit like Mike. I've never really had a bad boss. And
I suspect, lads, you're both you're fair exceptions to the rule there, I would guess.
In fact, I've been quite lucky, and I've had 2 or 3 mentors during my career who've really shaped me the way I work today. But worst job, yeah.